This is Michelle, and you're listening to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a show where I sit down and have conversations with influencers on a range of topics, anything from natural hair, employment, discrimination, food, relationships, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to send me an email, hit me up at michelle@wordsmichelle.com. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. Today I'll be speaking with Tennile Cooper, an insanely witty and talented copywriter. Today she'll be sharing some helpful hints on how parents can stay productive and sane during the quarantine. I must say that I'm not a parent, but I'm one of the coolest aunties ever. I've also babysat my 8-year-old nephew in the past. I seriously must give it up to parents because kids are a lot of work. So before I even start the show, I need to give all parents a hand. You are amazing. Back to the show. Just want to say hi to Tennile and welcome her to the show. Welcome to Tennile Cooper. And if you just want to introduce yourself, just tell me a bit about you.
Okay, so I have been running a copywriting business for 5+ years now. I've been helping businesses just jolt their marketing messaging online. And I've been working with from the Microsoft store, doing workshops there, to like smaller startup businesses, like a drive sharing app. So I've worked with different industries, a variety of industries. So anytime people tell me, okay, what's the industry that you specialize in? I'm like, I don't have a specialized industry, but I do have a specialized area that I focus on with copywriting. And that's like website copy, marketing material, and social media messaging. So that's kind of where my zone of genius lies.
Okay, great. So today we'll be speaking about ways that parents can be productive and sane during the quarantine. So how has the quarantine affected you as a parent?
It's a lot. I now have to become a teacher. I didn't go to school for teaching, and I also don't have the patience that I should have as a parent teaching my child how to do work. But I've always known this, and this is why she goes to school. I'm very lucky that I have a partner that could step in, and he has a bit more patience than I do in terms of like teaching her stuff. So it's been a bit of a challenge when the corona first started hitting, and then we were mandated to stay home. I'm like, okay, this might blow over. Maybe she'll be able to go to March break camp. But then the notice came out like, nope, that's shutting down. We're going to return your money. And I'm like, oh gosh, no, the whole week. And so we kind of had to like restructure ourselves there. And I put together a schedule for her because my daughter, who's 8 years old, she needs structure. She needs routine. And so I had to put something very loose, nothing really tight, but just to get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, have breakfast. Like these things still need to be told to her. And then after that, read 2 to 3 books, then do a little bit of work in terms of like what she's doing in school. I kind of incorporated that at home, and then also to do some chores. And after she's done some chores, done everything that I've already listed, then she can have screen time on her iPad. And I was actually really looking forward for teachers to start producing some schoolwork for them so that I and my partner wouldn't have to come up with all of this stuff. And so they have, but I feel like it's still limited in what they are providing teachers, at least her teacher right now. It seems like there's a lot of homework and not really too much guidance of it. I was really expecting them to hop on a Zoom call and like do like an hour of something with them or interact with the teacher. Like I was really thinking, I don't know, the Jetsons, like they're just gonna hop on some digital screen and start teaching a class, but that was not the case, at least for me.
So what exactly is it? Like now that, like you said, like parents are mandated to teach. So I know it's e-learning. So is it just logging in and like just navigating through different courses? Isn't that courses, subjects?
Yeah. So right now they're using Google Classroom. And through Google Classroom, it connects to Google Docs and Google Sheets, and then they'll just give assignments for the day, each day. There's her dance teachers there, her language, math. Those are some of the things that she's learning right now. And they'll share like videos, but everything is done through Google Classroom right now. So she just gets assigned assignments and then she does it and then submits it through that link. That's it. There's
Okay.
really no interaction with the teacher in terms of like video.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. So there's no interaction. Like once she like hands in something, is there like any feedback? Like, is it like
Yeah, there's
immediate?
feedback, but it's like a text through Google,
Ah,
a comment on a Google Doc, basically. Yeah.
I can see how that'd be a little trying for parents. Okay, so I'm not a
Yes.
parent. This is what, I'm probably going to start off the show saying that, but I'm not a parent. So, but I do have a nephew and he's
Yeah.
8 years old. So the funny thing is I did work in ESL as like as a teacher, like
Yeah.
so I kind of have that. I do have some of the skills and tools, mind you. The patience, though, I think I'm with you when you said you may not have the patience. I get it because it's a little hard, you know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, to juggle teaching her, like we'll trade off, me and my partner will trade off, but also having to do my 9 to 5 work,
Yeah,
which I don't actually do it in the 9 to 5. I do it throughout the day because I have to break from doing my work to ensure that she's doing her work. Is she understanding it? Does she need help? And then also feeding her, like lunch,
yeah.
breakfast, dinner.
I
So
don't know how
when
you
does
guys are
it
doing.
end?
I don't
When
know.
does it end?
But I mean, like but you're smart about it too, because you said you did come up with a schedule, and I like that.
Yes, prior to, yeah. So it was nothing when this came about. I'm like, this is just the teacher now giving you work, not just mommy. Like, so it helps. It definitely helps having a schedule. I don't get the parents who don't have a schedule. It must be insane to have to deal with a child with no schedule intact. How are you managing? Like,
Yeah.
I need a schedule just as much as she needs a schedule because she needs to know like what comes next, right? They need to be guided. That is our role as a parent. We have to guide them. They can't just be like flailing around. That doesn't feel safe to them.
So then, okay, so getting back to the topic for today, so what are some ways to stay sane? So you did mention like being on schedule with your daughter, like having that
Mm-hmm.
schedule, but are there other ways that parents can stay sane during this time?
I would say, like, in order to stay sane and productive during this time, I think about 3 things I want to be always doing is doing something that makes me money, doing something that makes me happy, and doing something that makes me healthy. So with the money part, I have the job and I have my own business. So for some people, it might be a side hustle. Having that routine or freelancing, I think it's important to have some kind of structure, something that holds you accountable, so you feel like you have some purpose. Um, that helps you stay sane and grounded. To have be accountable to someone else other than yourself. Um, so that's where the make money part, because you're held accountable to other people when you're in a process of making money. If you're at a job or you have your own business, your clients are your boss, and at your job, your boss is your boss. So you're accountable to somebody. um, and then making yourself happy. Like, what are your creative pursuits? Do you like writing? Do you like dancing? Do you want to learn another language? Like hobbies that you can get involved with, playing with your kid, having space for that, organizing, spring cleaning. That was a great time to like organize your house and clean up things that don't belong there anymore, since we're spending most of our time at home. Um, just self-improvement stuff. Like, I'm in school right now as well. I'm taking 2 courses, so
What are
that's
you
helping
taking?
me.
What courses are you taking?
Marketing, promotion strategies, and customer relationship strategies. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm almost wrapping those up. I cannot wait. I think this is next week is the last week, and then I'm done those 2 courses. So that's, keeping me happy, because self-improvement is very important to me. I never want to be in the same place I was a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So I always keep that at the top of my list. So for other people to stay sane and productive, what makes you happy? Think about those things that make you happy, and then do those things. Don't only think about it, because it's important for our mental health. And then the doing something that makes you healthy, whether it be working out. For me, I work out. It's important to me in terms of not like staying in shape, but just keeping the stress at bay. I do sometimes suffer from anxiety, and I think I got it more so like when like the later part of working for myself as an entrepreneur, anxiety started to really start to creep in a little bit more, and I started to like second guess like my moves and whatnot. So I had to find ways to combat that, and the way that worked for me the best was working out. But for other people, maybe something totally different. It could be like how you eat, meal prepping, cooking from home, therapy. Therapy is another thing that also helped in terms of my anxiety, reaching out to therapists to just kind of talk through some of the issues that are now resurfacing. I find working for yourself kind of is like it's putting you against all the beasts that you never really fought or tackled when it arose, if that makes sense. Um like starting a business for me just made me have to see myself a little bit more clearly. It was a mirror to myself. Things that I didn't tackle, I would have to now tackle within a client. Like if someone was unresponsive, um, am I being that way to someone else? So therapy really helped in terms of like kind of making sense of my thoughts, and then having the tools to deal with things as they arise and not just react to them, but respond in a meaningful and intentional way, which I definitely need to get back into therapy. I really truly like doing it one-on-one, like in person.
Yeah.
So having to do it online is not ideal for me, but I'm gonna have to figure it out. But this is a great time for folks to be looking at those aspects of their mental health that they can probably tap into professionals at this time, because we have the downtime to do the research and get recommendations and find those sources that we can tap into in this crazy times that we're in.
How about for those parents or even people, but more so parents, like who are actually feeling, I'm not even sure if it's frustrated, but feeling unmotivated. Because when you come home, or actually we are home, and it's just like every day is almost like the same, right? Like
Yeah.
because that's how it feels to me as well. So how about those parents who are a little bit of in a rut? Like how would they get out of that rut? Like would it be through the means that you mentioned before, like talking to someone, or would it be like like health things? Like is there anything else that they can do if they feel like they're stuck in a rut type of thing?
I always find when I'm stuck in a rut, it's because I'm looking inward too much. Meaning I'm thinking about myself. So if we step outside of ourselves and probably touch base with a friend of ours, or I'm sure we all know somebody who is an essential service right now. We even talked to one of our friends or family member who's an essential service who has to be out there and working, and seeing their perspective. That can make us feel a little bit more grateful for where we're at,
Yeah.
and kind of change our perspective. But aside from that, what keeps me motivated is getting up in the morning. Having my morning routine is very important to me. I can't just get up and get straight to work. So in the morning, I am listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes on YouTube. I have to get some word in. And I wouldn't say I'm a Christian. I would say I'm very spiritual. And so I take from all religions, and whatever, you know, fits my soul, then I'll receive it. But Bishop T.D. Jakes has been like the number one go-to of getting my motivation from.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from listening to his YouTube videos, it would be working out in the morning time is definitely essential. So again, going back to having that routine, it kind of keeps you grounded. Just like children need structure, we as adults need some kind of structure, because it keeps us grounded when everything is like flailing around us and out of control. At least we have our things that keep us intact, right?
Yeah. How's your daughter? How is she affected by the quarantine and being locked up?
Well, I mean, my daughter's a Disney character, so she's really
Okay.
good. No, literally, like she's a Disney character, so she's good. Like she's always laughing, singing, dancing. She has her iPad. She's pretty privileged as a child. Has her TV in her room. She's geared
Feels so
up.
good. I don't have a TV
Yeah,
in my room, eh? I don't have a TV in my room. Just lucky.
She's privileged. Okay. No, but she's really good. She has a really sunny disposition about her. Nothing really can get her down. So I think she's just born that way. Luckily I have a child who has a sunny disposition, so nothing really affects her too much. And if it does, it doesn't last very long. So
So
yeah,
then she's coping
that's
very well then. She's coping well with what's going on then.
yes, but she doesn't really understand it. So when she's like,
Mm.
I want to go outside and ride my bike, and we're like, no, you can't. We have to stay in the house. We can go for a walk for a little bit, but we can't touch anybody. We can't be too close to people. Um, that kind of stuff. She's still trying to wrap her head around why she can't go to school, see her friends, and go out like usual. That she's still trying to wrap her head around, but for the most part she doesn't really question it too much. She's just like, it is what it is, and she just goes back to her la la land.
What sort of support do do parents get now? Like, I mean, do they get support from the teachers with regards to teaching the kids? Like, is there any support?
I don't feel like there's any support. When they first were about to initiate this new program, I guess, they asked us if there's any technology needs we needed, like a laptop, internet access, which was
Okay.
really great.
Yep.
We didn't need that, so we didn't want to ask for it, so it would take away from a person who really did need it.
Yeah.
But I really thought that the teachers would be a little bit more hands-on, like I was saying earlier, having like some audio, if not video, an audio of just explaining some of the assignments that they give the kids, because sometimes I have a hard time trying to decipher what they want
Yeah.
my child to do in this homework. So I'm probably going to provide that feedback to her teacher so that this could be a little less harder for me to like spend 30 minutes trying to figure out what her homework is. And she's in grade 2. So I don't think it's clear communication in terms of that. So I really feel like they need to have a little bit more support, but this is really just the first week they started. So I'm gonna cut them some slack and see if the second week changes.
That's true. Yeah.
And if the second week doesn't come into some kind of like, because I know it's new for them as well, the second week doesn't seem like it's getting any better, then I'm going to be providing some feedback for sure.
So like, how long is this supposed to go on for? Like, how long did you get a date?
May 4th is what they said that it should go on until, and I'm hoping that for summer break, the camps reopen. Please, Lord God, I hope. I love my kid, but we need space.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And like for parents, I would really say, and I know it's hard for a lot of folks for this, because if they didn't implement it when their child was a baby, then it's kind of hard to implement it as they get older. But like boundaries are so important for parents. Like after a certain time of the day, like I am parent out, and I'll say to my daughter, like, listen, mommy time is over. I'm now Tennile. Okay. So
Are you serious? Oh my God. Okay, what time is that? What time is Tennille?
I'm not gonna tell you. It's like 8 p.m. is where like I'm mommied out. Okay. So if you got any mommy questions, sorry, you're gonna have to hold it for tomorrow.
Oh my God. Okay. Is that only since the quarantine, or was that before? That's only
No, that's always been. So like,
okay.
because her bedtime used to be at 7, and then during the school week it would be at 9 o'clock. And so that was like the time period where we'd have our own couples time or just me time. And I'd say to her, like, as long as she's fed, she's got everything she needs, any additional stuff, I'm like, you're spilling over into my time now. So you would have to leave that till 9 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my God. That is, I never heard anyone say that's funny. I'm so sorry. That's awesome. But you know what?
This is what keeps me sane.
That's your self-care. That's your self-care.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially for the parents that give everything to their children. Like you need a cutoff time. And when I say this to my friends, they think I'm insane, but I'm like, listen, the difference between you and I is I'm less stressed because of that. But you over here freaking out. So maybe you should try my boundaries a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like really having a schedule for your child. Like I said earlier too, like when she was a baby, she was on a strict schedule because that worked for her. And my mom didn't love it at all. She's like, why does she have to nap at this time? And why does she have to go to bed at this time? That's not how I raised you. I'm like, well, that's what worked for you. But me, I
Yeah.
need a little bit more me time. So we
Yeah.
go put these schedules in place. So she's been trained since she was a baby to know that this is mommy time and this is what you're going to do. Just giving her those responsibilities and accountability at a younger age. So she knows that I'm also in control of how I feel. It's me role modeling how she should be treating herself with other people. So know that you should set boundaries, that you can't just, someone can't just take up your space or talk to you whenever they want or how they want. Like, it's me role modeling how boundaries look like what boundaries look like, so that she knows, like, when she's out there in the world, like, okay, I need my time, I need my space. Like, she has that in place because mommy role models that. Like,
Yeah.
back up.
I do like the fact you said structure, because I mean, there are a lot of kids, and it's so hard to not have a set schedule like now because things are so up in the air. So I like
Yeah.
the fact that you still have that structure, the schedule that, this is what you do when you wake up, this is what you do in the middle of the day. And if she has a recess, going out for, like fresh air and whatever. So I like that. I think, because even for myself, like, I stopped working in January, and I was kind of like going through, like, doing whatever in my day. But now I write things down. I'm like, I gotta write. Why wasn't I doing this before? Why wasn't I writing what I gotta do? And I think you could be like a kid, you could be an adult. You gotta do it. It keeps you on track. It completely keeps you on track.
Definitely. I know some of us don't like it, especially the free-spirited folks, but I don't know how you cannot write down things you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, how would you remember everything? That, for me as an adult, like, I can't remember everything. There's just so many parts of me. Like, I'm a mom, like, I'm a partner, I work at a job, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a daughter. Like, there's a lot of things to remember and keep track of so that you can uphold your commitments to people that are in your life. And that's how I show my love, is by, showing up for people and being committed and staying committed and being reliable. So how do you be all these principles that you want to have within yourself and, like, stay on top of all of that without writing it down? I don't know how you could not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't want people out here thinking that I'm just like this Cruella DeVille with my child. Like,
No, I don't think so. You know what, though? Okay, honestly, Tennille, what I believe, I mean, I am the product of old school parenting, and I had a single parent, so it was just my mom. But we had a support system. Like, when I think of my childhood, I actually think of my mom, and I think of my aunt and uncle. They weren't like by blood, but like they're like the family friends. But I think of them, and they were hard. They were old school, man. Old school kind of parenting.
Yes, I do. Play. West Indian. Yeah. I have Jamaican parents. Don't play.
Exactly. Trini for me. So the thing is, my mother does not play. She did not play when I was a kid. So I think we do. That's why I was saying, I don't think they will think that you're Cruella DeVille, because you need structure. You need a little bit of, I don't want to say fear, but
a little bit, just a little bit. So when you look at them, they know without having to touch them.
Yeah. Oh, my mother used to just say my name, and I'm like,
yes.
And then that was it. I was good. She scared me straight.
Yep.
So we need that. Like, I think if I were a parent, I probably would parent just like my mom. I think because it was like, even with my nephew, sometimes I feel like, oh my God, am I too harsh? I know I'm not too harsh, but I know how I was raised, and I think I would be a little bit like that. So I don't know. So you're fine. I like you set boundaries, and also, but I think it's a mental thing though. Like, I mean, we also talk about mental wellness and health. So you're saying, up until this time, if there's an emergency, definitely come and tell me. But if you figure it out on your own, then you're good.
Yeah, I definitely want to raise a child that thinks for herself. Like, I don't want her to always come to me for every single thing, because then where does she learn how critical thinking? Like, that's so important, especially in today's world. We need more critical thinkers in this world. And if I'm always solving her problems, she'll never have that creativity and that, like, knowledge to brainstorm things and come up with things on her own. Like, that's who's going to truly be successful in this world, is those critical thinkers, those creative individuals who can solve problems. And I want her, when she comes up against a problem, not the first thought to be, I'm going to ask my mom and she's going to give me the answer. I want her first thought to be, how do I break through this? I know I can do it. Like, that's the self-talk I want her to have. Like, I can solve this problem. I just need to give myself more time and space to come up with some creative solutions. That's what I want her to take away.
Exactly. It's a great life skill too, though, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think we should be able to problem solve and think of all the possible answers to whatever problem we have instead of going to
Yeah.
someone. I'm really pro that. That's why when you say that, I'm like, yes. I think you have to
Yes.
like brainstorm and think this, and that, whatever. And then if I don't get the answers, then go to someone. But I almost never
Right.
like going to someone. I actually like to figure it out on my own, and that could be to my detriment sometimes. But I like to figure it out. I like to figure out.
Right.
So that's good that she's getting that skill in right now.
Yeah. Because you always want to be valuable to people. You don't want to like, you know, lean on people all the time and be a burden. Like I never want her to be a burden to anyone. I want her to be a valuable resource that people have to come to her, not the other way around.
That's beautiful. Oh my God. I love that. Because it's true. Like, because she will become a value because she's obviously the person in the know. Like she's, you know what I mean? Like she
Exactly.
knows the answers. I love it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
are there any do you have any closing remarks, anything you want to address during this time as a parent?
Mm-hmm.
First, like, is there anything else you'd like to address? Um,
Probably just sharing some really great resources that helped me during this time that people might be interested in as well. If people are familiar with the show Red Table Talk, they had a recent episode on managing our anxiety and fear during COVID-19. It was really good in just like taking everything that's been sitting in your brain and you can't make sense of it. They kind of just spoke about everything. They had a motivational speaker on called Jay Shetty. Okay, I'm probably just butchering his name. And then a psychologist, Dr. Ramani or something like that. Just go to Red Table Talk,
yeah.
and I think it's like the first most recent episode on COVID. It was phenomenal. And then there's this article by the Chronicle called "Why You Should Ignore All the Coronavirus Inspired Productivity Pressure." That's for the folks who are like, okay, I don't want to be productive. I just want to sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix. Like, leave me be. And people have every right to take this time to rest and recover. There are periods during this quarantine that I've definitely taken the time to just rest and recover and say, you know what, you don't have to hustle hard today. Like you can sit back and recenter yourself, go inward, meditate more, all that kind of stuff. And then the last resource is the Daily Beast, which I thought was really interesting. It's called "If You Have Anxiety and Depression but Feel Better During Coronavirus, You're Not Alone." Yes.
How's
So
that
that's
possible?
right. So I was kind of feeling that way. I was like, I don't feel as crazy or as chaotic as everybody keeps on saying that they feel. Like, I don't feel isolated, maybe because I'm so used to being with myself
Yeah.
that it's like, this is welcoming. This is a welcoming time that now I don't have to feel shame around being by myself. You know what I mean? So that article was really touched on not having that guilt around feeling a little bit more happier during this time because we don't have the pressure of society. Like, you know, when we go to work, we're always dressing for the workplace or dressing for someone else, or we have all these expectations on us, or we assume that all these expectations are on us by just solely interacting with people on a daily basis. There's just so many things going on in our brains that we're just that self-talk when we're around other people that can be very exhausting. And for someone who suffers from depression and myself who suffers from anxiety from time to time, I can be in my head a lot. So not having to be out there in the world and having to deal with the people I interact with on a daily basis, like even strangers, like my commute to work or dealing with my manager or dealing with my colleagues, that's reduced significantly. It makes you breathe a little lighter for people who, you know, deal with anxiety. So I thought that was a really good article that other people might be interested in. So don't feel guilty around this time if you're feeling a little lighter.
Well, I want to thank you, Tennille. Thank you for talking about the resources. Definitely, I'm happy. I'm actually going to list them on my blog. And thanks for like just providing some information about what parents can do, like how they can stay sane during this time. Because I can imagine, like I said, I'm not a parent, but I can imagine how hard it is juggling everything. Like, you know, being a
Yeah.
mom, being an entrepreneur, now being you got to add teacher to that, right? You got to add teacher.
I'm gonna update my resume.
Exactly, because now you're a teacher, an online teacher.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, you're an online teacher, so you're able to navigate, the online area or website, whatever. Well, actually, you have a website, so you're good with that. You're fine with
Yeah.
online. So you have
Yes, I
a
am.
you have
Lucky thing for her, I'm not. I'm tech savvy, so I understand what to do and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank you so much for coming. It is definitely a pleasure getting to speak to you on via Zoom. So it's
Yeah.
such a pleasure meeting you. So
Same
thank
here,
you.
Michelle. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Did you want to give me your handles, like for how anyone can get a hold of you or find out more
Yeah.
about you?
So I just launched my Instagram page for she'sepic.com, which is she'sepic.official at Instagram. That's the only one I want to plug because that one needs some love right now. I've been on other
I think I definitely follow you. So hey,
I've been on the other platforms. Time to give Instagram some love. Thank
so
you so much.
oh my God, thank you. No, thank you, girl. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Words with Michelle, the podcast. To listen and subscribe, you can do so at iTunes and Spotify. You can also access the podcast on my website, which is wordswithmichelle.com. If you have any feedback or any comments, please feel free to send me an email at michelle@wordswithmichelle.com. Thanks again for listening to the show, and until next time, bye.